in that time I didn't have in my mind like, oh, in a few years we're gonna buy it.
Dreams come true.
Yeah, dreams can come true, yeah.
If they have a difficult horse, send it to Dominique.
Be like, so I said like, in my best I thought, yeah, like, hi, how are you? Everything is good. And then you turn around and say, actually, she's a bitch.
Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. My name is Valeria and today we are in Holland at President Stables with Dominique Filion.
Dominique Filion, Dutch Grand Prix rider, Dutch champion in Small Tour 2021, Nations Cup champion in 2015. Recently became a champion with Dettori scoring 77.1% in freestyle.
She has bought this place in November 2021 and we decided to come over, have a chat with her, see how it is running your own yard. Dominique also has been my coach for a few years throughout my career, and I have to say that she's put quite a lot of input in my path overall because I believe she's an incredible rider. She's very kind and friendly to horses, and I think that's where dressage should go today. I hope that she can share with us today some insights of her riding and overall being a successful equestrian. Hi Dominique, it's really nice to be here. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
So tell us a little bit about your new adventure here.
So we came here in November. That's when we bought it. And now it is March, so yeah, a few months further. And of course, we're really, really happy to be here. It is a stable where I worked before.
Ah, really?
And yeah, and I really like this place. But of course, in that time, I didn't have in my mind like, oh, in a few years we're gonna buy it. But yeah, now we had the opportunity to buy it, and yeah, we're really, really happy to be here.
Dreams come true.
Yeah, dreams can come true. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but of course, a little bit later, we'll go around the stables and show us, everyone, your nice place. But I'd also like to talk about your riding and how it started, and how did you understand that it was dressage? This is, the thing of your life. Tell us a little bit about how did you find yourself on a horse?
So what I understood from my mother, that I really like to be with horses, but that I was not even the person that wanted to ride immediately. There was like, especially in the beginning, I really like to have horses around me, to brush them, to cuddle with them, to have them around, but I was not so eager to sit on them.
You had them in your grandparents' place, or?
No. Yeah, later on. But when I was really small, we just had like my mom, she was riding, and I think we were just in a, I don't know how you call this in English, like a pension stable, like just a stable where you rent boxes. So my mom had rented a few boxes for her horses, and then I think at that time I just had one little pony, of course it was a long time ago, but it was just like a little white, I don't know how you call it. It's not a Shetlander, but a little bit bigger than this. And I have pictures that I'm with her, it was her, that I am in the field with her, that I'm walking around. But of course, you cannot really call this riding, when you're, I don't know, 3-4 years old, you're just a little bit around with one brush. And sometimes they would put me on and walk with me on the horse, but this is not riding yet. So if we're talking about when I started really riding, well, I think it should be like between 6 and 8 or so.
Okay.
Like, yeah, a little bit more riding, let's say.
Okay. And then what was your age when you first really competed in dressage?
So of course I started as quite a young age, of course, the riding. So let's say that I was between 6 and 8 that I started riding. So then I think I was around 10 that I started to compete like really low level with the ponies. But then you don't do so much. You make maybe one vault, one diagonal, something like this. And I remember at that time I was also in Holland. At that time you had like that you can be with 4 people and you ride a test. You are behind each other and you have to do everything at the same time. So I really enjoyed that. I don't think you have that so much nowadays anymore. But I really like to have that. You're a little bit more with friends. You know, you are riding together. You have a little bit this team spirit thing going on. So that was nice. And like my first European championship, so then you're talking already like, let's say serious, I was 12 years old. So it's quite a young age for being quite serious. So for sure at 10 I was already competing, let's say in the highest regional level. And then at 12 I went to my first European championships with my pony.
And your parents, of course, encouraged all of it.
So especially my mom, she's totally addicted to horses. So yeah, for her it was very nice that I started to ride. And my grandmother also was riding when she was younger, but at that time her family was quite poor, so it was not really a possibility for her to ride on a private horse. So she always tells me the stories that, when I saw a horse, I want to go on and I just sit on it, you know. So yeah, of course she was riding, but not like really competing. My mom was competing. She did like, I think the highest that she did was Prix St. George Intermediate 1. And then usually I would steal her horse so she could not go any further. And my grandfather, he totally loves the sport. So he's really supportive also for you, as I remember. So he really just likes the sport. So if somebody has a good ride and they win, he can just be happy for them. And that's really nice. So I can say it was in my family that we all love horses, but for sure I never had to deal with parents that didn't encourage me to ride, or so they were all really like, let's go, follow your dream, do what you would like. So yeah, that was good.
I guess a lot of people dream to have this kind of family. I think your grandfather even has like a folder with all your articles from the newspapers from everywhere, keeping it in the box.
Yeah, that's totally true.
That's
he
really
loves
nice.
it. And I really like to see it also, like you start to forget, you know, when you ride and the years pass and you have a lot of things going on with the horses, you start to forget what happened when you were younger. And then sometimes you look back on these books and then you think, wow, we had such a good time then, or remember at that time, you know, it's nice to have it.
Okay. And you did how many Europeans overall?
I did 9 Europeans, I think with 7 different horses or so. But it was, so I started 12, the first one on the ponies, and then it was 1 year with the ponies, and then of course like 4 years, so juniors, 4 years with the young riders, and then at that time you didn't have the U25 Europeans yet, so well in total I had 9, so it was enough.
And it was all your horses, or?
It was almost all of our horses, but there was I think 2 or 3 that were from owners.
Okay.
And they gave me the horse to compete it, so yeah, that was really nice.
Okay. And you know, it sounds all like it was just a heaven for you at that time. Did you had to face with any difficulties during that time?
Oh, I think that everybody has difficulties when they're young and they want to achieve their goals, and you know, you have also good things and things that happen to you, but yeah, you know, everybody has this. And if you ask me now, like, oh, what was for you really bad, I can tell you some things that were not nice, but you know, all other things you learn from something. And yeah, I try to focus on the positive things and not to stay too long in the negative things that happen. But of course everybody has this. Okay. You know, you have a bad ride, or you have you know, one time I was at the European Championships, and I remember I was I think in the 3rd place, so I should get the medal. And then in the end of the ceremony, they counted the protocols wrong, and then I became 4th. Oh. And that's really bad. Let's say for if you think you have a medal and then you don't, that's like emotionally quite tough. But yeah, you know, these things happen, and at that moment I felt really bad. But yeah, you should not stay focused on the bad things too much. So yeah, I think everybody has these things.
Okay. And how old were you when you start working with Anki?
Theodora Elizabeth Gerarda Anki van Grunsven. Born January 2, 1968. Dutch dressage champion who is the only rider to record 3 successive Olympic wins. Van Grunsven holds the record for winning the most Olympic medals by an equestrian. Entitled as Dutch Sportswoman of the Year in 1994.
Oh, that's a long time ago. I think I was around 14, between 14 and 50, let's say. Yeah. I was with her really long. I think I was with her 15 years.
Wow.
I think she was my biggest inspiration for sure. Especially at that time, I was totally a fan of her riding, and I was like dreaming of having lessons from her. And I think I started between 14 and 15 because I still was riding juniors at that time.
How did it happen that you...
Well, I think my mother said that I should go and ask, but of course I was really, really afraid. But I remember that I did it. I asked her. I don't remember exactly how I asked her, but or I called her or I sent her a message, but I asked her. And first she said like, yeah, I have to think. But then she said, yeah, you can come one time, you know, and then, yeah, after you went one time, then it's a little bit easier. And
Because she was at the peak of her career at that moment, right?
Yeah, for sure. She was really doing really well with her horses. I think even at that time she was even riding on Bonfire at that time. Yeah, she was really like, she was the most famous horse riding person, I think I can say from Holland, but I think even from the world at that time. And I was there for 15 years. I used to go, like, if it was possible, once a week with 2 horses to have lessons. And I also worked there in their barn for, I think, 1.5 years or so. So then I just took like 3 horses and I worked there in the day. And then in the afternoon I was able to have like 2 lessons with the horses from her. And yeah, it was really, really interesting and I learned a lot. And I'm happy that I did it. But I also must say, when I went away after 15 years, this was the... If I have to say, like, it was really nice that I was there 15 years, but when I went away, I felt really lost.
Okay.
Because when you're so long with one trainer, you start to see them as a little bit part of the family, let's say, or as a friend. And then when you don't have somebody anymore to ask or to, you know, get advice from, you feel a little bit lost. So that was not a nice thing after, but okay.
But you also trained with your mom.
Yeah, so I trained with my mom. Like my mom, before she had lessons from Chef.
Chef Jansen. Born January 15, 1950. Dutch National Olympic Team dressage coach and spouse of Anki van Grunsven. He won a bronze medal in team dressage at the 1991 European Dressage Championship in Donaueschingen, Germany. Chef Jansen did not start riding until he was 28.
So, like, I think I was educated already a little bit in the same way. And then I came with Anki, but my mom always was there. You know, your mom is your mom. She's always there. She gives you always good advice, and you can have somebody that helps you once a week. But it's also nice to have somebody just there that says, "Hey, but be careful that you don't do too much of this or too much of that." So she was always there, and she went with me to the competitions. And actually, until this day, she still looks at me. I'm quite happy that I have that, because I think nobody is as honest as your own family.
Of course.
So that's a good thing for me. I'm lucky to have her.
And you think this can have some disadvantages sometimes?
We can fight. We can yell at each other.
I remember.
Yeah. But you know what is the thing that, you know, sometimes when you're trying to get better, you also get, you struggle and you get emotional. And then when it is somebody that's really close to you, you are like it's easier for you to say something. You can easily say, well, I already did that, or it doesn't work. When you have a trainer, you always feel a little bit like, oh, I should be careful, I have to control my emotions. But when it's your family, you're a little bit easier in your ways. But I must say, we can yell, for example, we can say something like that's not true, but we also step over really fast.
Okay.
So I think actually it still works well between us, and we both know what we want. And in the end of the day, we want the same, but sometimes one wants to go a little bit more to the left and the other one wants to go a little bit to the right. And if in the end, if you want the same, then it's okay.
Okay. Focus on one goal.
Yeah, exactly.
And can you say there were any other coaches, trainers in your life who also played quite a big role?
Yeah, so first of all, I always had, I was always quite open to listen to other people. And of course, because I went to a lot of European championships, there was always like a main coach for the team that was under contract of the Dutch Federation, let's say. So I had quite a few different ones. I had Jo Willems, I had Jurgen Koschel, I had Ton de Ridder, I had Francis Verbeek, the really good Olympic judge. I had, Alex van Seelvoud. I had a few, and of course you also learn a lot from them. You have the trainings there. They look at you like how you have to write your test. They tell you a lot, and. I must say what I really enjoyed the lessons from Koschel. I think he's very, very well-educated person, and I really like the way he was teaching. But I think most important is that you are open to learn from different people. But in this way that you're going and you're learning from other people, you should also not forget to stay with yourself, that you don't forget what you want. And it should be addition to what you want, but it should not be that you say, okay, well, now I'm going to listen to this person, so I'm going to change all, So I just see them as, I listen, I think, what can I use? And then, I go on. So for sure, there are more trainers that help me than only one.
And as per horses, would you say that there are some specific horses that really helped you in your career or taught you something really big?
Well, I thought about that actually, because sometimes you can see that one person has one horse and then they just break through with this one horse, or they have one horse that they ride for 10 years, and then this is their horse. But if you see my way, how it went, I have a lot of different horses that I ride, and I don't have one horse that is with me like this was not part of the plan. I don't have one horse that is with me like for 10 years or so, because usually the thing is that I ride them and they get sold. This is a little bit I don't know why it happened to me, but this is just story of my life.
Because you're a good rider and you can make the horses easy to ride.
And also this is a little bit the thing, like I have the feeling that people can ride after I ride. So these horses, they just get sold, and I never had like a really big sponsor that says, okay, you don't have to sell them, you can keep them, I will help you financially. So then the thing is that many times when horses are in Prix George level, so they get sold, and this is also okay. But if I have to say like one horse that was a little bit more special than another horse, then I would say what I think was special is that with the mare Venicenta, I became Grand Prix, and then I won the Nations Cup in where it was in France.
In Widdeman.
Yeah, and that was of course really nice in Grand Prix. That's really cool. That's something I will never forget. I was really good friends also with the owner, so that was also a really nice thing. But if I would have to say like, is there another horse that meant something special for you? Then I can also say, for example, Dastan. He's not the most special horse in movements or so, but he went with me to Russia, and I bought him from my own money, So this is a little bit the thing that also makes some special connection to for us together. But yeah, I still think that another horse can come that will make my dressage career even better, but we should see what time brings.
So, okay, and now, as you have mentioned actually yourself about Russia, let's talk a little bit about that. How did you happen to be there?
So we sold some horses in the past to Russia, and the man that bought the horses, he told me that he was building a stable in Russia. Well, I said, well, that's really nice. Good luck, and yeah, it's nice that you are that you are building a stable. But then I met him in Vidauban at the time that I was there with Vinicenta riding. And he said, please, Dominique, I want to invite you to come to my stable because I want to do some clinics, you know, to have you like 2 days or so. And so we made an appointment for that. And then he said, yeah, you can look at my stable at the same time. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I went there. And then I thought, whoa, this is just not a normal stable. It's really big, like a lot of arenas, inside, outside. So it was more like a dressage world instead of just a stable. And it was really nice to see. I was very fascinated by what he built there. And then I went home and he called me and he says, hey, Dominique, you know, as you understand, I built a new stable, but actually I would like to have more people coming to the stable. So I would like to offer you a job there for 1 year, and you can bring a horse. And yeah, he told me my salary and what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to ride and to teach. And then I said, well, I'm not coming to Russia, like for sure not. I have other things. And I was totally like, no, I'm not going.
Poland to Russia.
Yeah, it was not in my plan that I'm going to Russia. You know, I was okay for the clinics, but for sure not to go there for 1 year. Because I was going to do Grand Prix with Vinicenta. You know, I was already doing it and I wanted to get better. And then at a certain moment, the owners of Vinicenta, they told me that they had to sell her. What was really awful for me, but they told me why. And then actually, you know what I told you before, they also became my friends. So then I understood them. And then I thought, yeah, I understood why the horse has to be sold. And it was so, I cannot explain to you, but I was really heartbroken. I was so sad because I thought finally I have a horse that can do Grand Prix and who I can compete and follow my dream. And then it has to be sold, you know. And I didn't have that money to buy that horse. And I also didn't know anybody that wanted to buy it for me, let's say. So then I thought, you know, I cannot do that. I can also not sell her because I will be totally crying, and yeah, it didn't work. So I was just thinking, and I started to feel in the days that passed, I started to feel really negative, like a negative vibe, and I couldn't focus. And I thought really like, what am I doing here? I don't have any like real money. I will lose my horse. I'm just riding for people, but I know the horses will be sold. And then this thing in my back of my mind was just like, Russia, Russia, Russia. And then one day I called my mom. I just said, hey, listen, I'm going. I need the money, the experience, to be on my own, to be away from this all, to start new, you know, in another way. And yeah, I think I took... my mom couldn't believe it actually, but I think I took 1.5 months or so. I had also horses at that moment, but I told the owners what was my plan. And then, yeah, I went and I thought I will stay there because I need to get my own money so that I can buy my own horse and to be a little bit more by myself, that I'm not depending always on other people. Otherwise I will not get out of this circle. So
and you had the stand, but by the time.
Yeah, so the son was also from the same owners. Okay. We had it half, and then I said, okay, I will take my part out of the mare so that you can sell it, and I will take a part from the son so I can take him. And they agreed with this because yeah, we were actually friends, and they also understood me. Even it was hard for me to tell them that I cannot sell the mare, but I understood that they had to sell it. We were okay. So yeah, I took the stand and then I went.
And would you say that after this experience with Vinicenta, you decided not to get attached anymore to horses that strong, not to experience that feeling again?
I told myself I should not, but I don't know. I try not to get that feeling again, but it happens. it just happens. It's just really hard to, I think you know this also yourself with horses. It's really hard not to get emotionally attached, even when you know you should not. It just happens every time again and again. The only thing is now that after I came back from Russia, I had a little bit more money of my own, so I could make other decisions. And also I thought, it is okay that horses are sold. This is okay, as long as you have one or two that are not. Mm-hmm. And then you know that, okay, these horses are going to be sold, these horses are going to stay, and then you are okay. Mm-hmm. But it's just really hard feeling when you have only one or two what you're focused on, and these are getting sold. So now it's okay. Now we have a whole stable full of selling horses for sale.
And Russia, how was that?
So most people, they say to me like, oh, Russia, you are probably happy that you went home again, that you, when you went home, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I really liked it. For me, 1 year, it went really fast by. And at the moment that the owner of Maxima Stables asked me if I want to stay after that year, he says, like, you can stay, you can build up here your business, and, we would like you to stay. But then I thought, well, it was not my dream to build up my business in Russia. Maybe if it doesn't work in Holland, I can always consider this, but I really came there for the job. So when the job was done, I thought, no, now I want to go back again. So I went back, but I still have, like, when I think about the time, I always feel like a happy feeling. I don't feel bad at all.
Okay, and what do you think about horse riding, equestrian world, dressage in particular in Russia?
So I must say that, of course, the stable was amazing, and it was not the only good stable there. They have more nice stables with good facilities. But I think the biggest mistake what people make is that, they think that in Russia the quality of horses or the level of horse riding is really bad. But when I came there, I was like shocked, because I don't know why, but in our mind it's a little bit like, oh, there it's still like very how do I say this, like in the baby how do you say this, that it's still
beginner.
With the beginner steps, but it's not at all, because there's a lot of people that buy horses from Holland, Germany, England. It's not so that Russian people don't know that there are good horses, and then they just take them there, and they also have nice competition, and they also want to develop, and they also are getting educated. So it's not so that it's such a big difference. Of course, you can say, well, compared to Holland or compared to Germany, but these are also really good countries. So it was not my... I think this is a big mistake that other people make. For sure they should get better, but it's not that they're really bad. And they have nice horses, and they have good facilities, and they want to learn, and they want to spend money for this.
Yeah.
And I think this is really an important thing, that they have enough money to spend it on horses or to spend it on education.
What would you say they need to improve and to work on?
Well, maybe I will not get a lot of more Russian friends, but I think the mentality, if I have to say something, because what I did see is that, of course not all, because that's unfair, but I think they should get a little bit a better idea about what is a horse, and that is not always like a horse is used like a machine. You don't put the coin in it and it starts to work. They should have a little bit more, like, I don't know, be a little bit more open for that the horse also has feelings, and that it's not so that if you give him good hay and good stable that he will work, But I think they should be a little bit more emotionally attached, let's say, to the horses, and then they will get better results. This is what I would advise.
Okay. And what did you get from that experience? What did you gain from there?
So I still have a lot of friends from there. So that's, I must say, this is really something funny, because when I went there, I had sometimes a feeling that Russian people can be a little bit cold, or let's say they keep the distance. This is what I felt in the beginning, but what I see now, like when I went there and I think the people who I talk most with or who I have the warmest feelings, they're Russians. And it's really strange, but I have the feeling that it takes some time before you get to know them. But if you know them, then you will keep them forever. Like they will stay with you through your whole life. And I think with Dutch people, they are like a little bit easy, like, hi, how are you? Everything is good. And then you turn around and say, actually, she's a bitch. You know, like this is a little bit the thing what I have that I think with Russian, it takes a little bit longer before you are into their circle. But once you are in their circle, you are like, you become a part of the family. And this is what I really like. And I think it was an amazing experience, actually. And you know, like Russia, it's so big compared to Holland, and I had the feeling like everything is possible there. If you want something, you can just get it, and that's something good and something bad about everything. But this is like, yeah, I don't know. Like I'm really happy I went there, and I see it as a super experience, and I only have good feelings about it.
So. And. Yeah, you keep in touch with people still, yeah, from there?
Yeah, not all people, but yes, you know, through Messenger, to WhatsApp, Facebook, you know, you're like, how are you? Or they send me pictures of people that I used to teach, you know, and now they say like, oh, I'm still writing. Like, I like to hear that. And I like to, you know, I like to see them that they develop. And, you know, sometimes they also want to come still. Like I still have people that want to come here for a few days or weeks, and now it's a little bit hard, you know, in this time of war, but I feel happy, like when I know that they want to come, I think, oh yeah, you know, we had such a good time there. Let's come together. So.
And your boyfriend, you met him there, am I right?
Yeah. So Alexander, we met each other in Maxima. Actually, it's quite funny because there was an advertisement for that they were looking for a groom for me. But of course somebody else made it because it was in Russian, and he reacted. But because he didn't speak English, we didn't start to work with each other. But they hired him anyway, but just in the same. In Dutch we say gang, but I don't know how to say it, like in the same building or same part of the stable, but just not for me. So I saw him there, I thought, yeah, it's a nice guy, hello. And every day, hello, how are you, good. And yeah, actually we could not speak more because he didn't speak English, but then I found out he was living in the same building.
I didn't catch that.
No, I can imagine he didn't catch that. We were living in the same building, and then in the evening I would be quite alone because, yeah, you know, I lived there, but I didn't have, of course, in the stable so many friends in the evening at least. So then I would walk with the dogs around the stable, and I just was looking at the dogs. And then I saw him a few rooms further. I thought, I will ask him if he wants to come with me, you know, just come around. So I said, like, in my best you, me, I thought, yeah. I thought, I hope he doesn't think something else. But so we walked, and, you know, they say that that people always find a way to communicate.
Yeah.
So we tried, and we succeeded.
And he learned English with you.
And he learned English, yeah.
Incredible.
I must say he was quite a fast learner, quite fast, because this is actually unbelievable. So after my time was up, I left there from Maxima, and he stayed. And he said, I'll come to visit you. We were not, Kiwi, we were not boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, we were just friends. And he said, maybe I can come to visit in New Year. I said, yeah, you should. And this is what he did. He came in the New Year. And actually still as a friend. And then after I went to Germany for a new job, and he said, I'll come to help you move. So then he did that, but then he never went away. So yeah, that's good. And now we are already, I don't know, like 4 years later or so.
He's been there for you always.
Always, yeah.
And
yeah. And I must say what I really, really like is that, you know, there was always my story about my dressage and my horses and my life, and then in some part of your life you start to have a partner. And then when we came back from Germany together, because we didn't like Germany, we came back together, and then we started, let's say, our life. So then we rented some boxes in another stable in Holland, but we just had, I think at that time, 3-4 horses, you know. It was really small. And then of course you want to grow, you want to develop. So I think we went with 6 horses or so. We went to Zeewolde, and there we really developed. Like there we started to we rented like a part of the stable in a bigger stable, and then it went so fast. It went from 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 12, 15, and on and on. So then, you know, it's nice also because you develop together.
Do you think you could have done it alone?
No, for sure not, because, you know, it is, I think all people in dressage or in horses know that it's a lot. You have to be a lot. You have to be a rider, you have to be a manager, you have to be an Instagrammer, you have to be a seller, you have to be on the video. You know, you have to do so many things. Especially because we also rented that stable, so then you have to, you know, buy your own food, you know, all these things that are coming, the blacksmith, the dentist, you know, all these things that you have to manage also. It's too much for one person.
And he helps you in which part?
Actually, he helps me with everything, only not so much with the riding. The riding I usually do myself, but I must say, of course, he also started riding, and he also started to develop in riding. So he started started to compete in the B. This is like the lowest regional level, and now he's in the almost highest regional level on my Dastan. So, you know, it was good for him. It's good for him to develop, to understand that what he's doing and to get better. So and then we bought this stable. So again, it was something together, you know. And then we started our life in this stable. So yeah, I think actually if I tell it so, then I think, well, we're doing quite okay together.
And how is it to work with the same person that you live with?
Sometimes hard. No, actually, you know, we are totally different, and I think you from many people know us from the beginning, I think, and also we are so different. Like as a person, we are so different, but I think this is also a good thing. If you're totally the same, yeah, then it's boring, and also you don't see like when he thinks totally left, I think totally right, and then it's nice to see that you can get in the middle of something. But you know, of course, when you fight in the stable in your work, then it's quite hard that you take it also to your private. But yeah, you know, you just have to deal with this, and it's also actually we almost never fight like about private things. It's mostly about horses or deals or things that I said, wow, I love him, he should not be sold, and then he says, yeah, but we need to pay for things, you know. So, you know, it's not so that I don't understand what he says, but sometimes I think I'm more emotional than he is.
Okay.
And you know, it's always hard to find the line between business and doing something what you love. This is quite a hard combination.
Yeah. But you have it.
But I have it, and we try still to get better.
You have made a decision to have your own stable. How was it? Was it easy? When did you decide? How did you come up with this?
Well, I think it was always something in my mind that I would like to have a own stable, but you also have to understand if it's a opportunity or possibility, you know, because it's actually a question of money usually. So when I found out that it was an opportunity to have our own stable, then you start looking. And it's a funny thing about when you understand that you can, then comes the thing that you think, okay, now I can, but what do I really want? Because, yeah, you have to, first you just think, yeah, I want a stable. But then I start to think, and I thought, yeah, you know, I don't really want to have again comes the word pension stable, like the stable where you just rent boxes, because it was not my dream to have this. And then I thought, well, what would I really like? And then I thought, yeah, well, I would like to have it really private. Not a really big stable, but a stable where are a lot of facilities, with a lot of place for the horses to go out, because I find this very important. And in the beginning I thought I want to have like a really big arena, because that's luxury and that's nice if you can. But then I thought, well, but I sell also sometimes horses. And when I started to understand that a lot of times when people try a new horse, they don't like to be in a really big arena. They like to have a little bit smaller arena. It makes them feel more confident. And, you know, I can imagine when you're just on a new horse and you have a really big arena, it's scary. So then I thought, oh, I think I should change this thing in my mind. So then I thought, if I have one arena that is 20 by 60 like outside, I'm fine, because I need one 20 by 60 arena to practice for the test. So yeah, then I changed a little bit, and we saw more stables with 20 by 40 inside and then 20 by 60 outside. But I'm quite okay to live anywhere in Holland, but I didn't want to be like totally in the north or totally in, you know, I want to be a little bit in the middle. So when we found this stable, I thought, yeah, this is actually perfect, because it had 32 boxes, like it's not 60, but it's also not 15. So it's a little bit in the middle, 20 by 40 inside and 20 by 60 outside. And I was really happy with the indoor launching, because as you know, in Holland it's so much rain, and yeah, it's just another thing that is quite nice to have. And of course, most important, that there was a house with the stable, so that we could live with the horses.
So who is this?
So this is Dastani. I think he's, we call him many times the little monster. Actually, he's not little, but little monster of the stable, because he's always doing something naughty, but always there. It's one of the sweetest horses, actually, that I know. But he's more like, he's quite, he looks really like a human. He's always there in your face, if you want it or not.
Okay. And yeah, since we're now with the horses, I wanted to ask you about Frida. I think it's the horse you also had some success with the international level. And
you want to know where is she now?
Just, you know, because you taught her everything, right?
Yeah, Frida, I think, was one of my, in quality, one of the best horses that I have ridden.
You won 4 stars with her.
Yeah, in Leer, and was really nice. It was a good memory also, and I really liked her. She was very nice to ride, and also very, very pretty mare. Good size for me, because I'm quite tall. But yeah, she did really well, and I think actually now she was almost doing Grand Prix, but then she had like a small injury on the leg, and it was nothing like special, like not major, but the vet said better to be calm with her, and she's still so young that we didn't want to take any risk with her. So I talked to the owners about it, and they said, well, let's put her in the field and try to get a foal from her, because she has a really good how do you say it, bloodline. And yeah, so now she's in Germany. They're trying to get a foal from her now, and I think actually if she will get a foal, then probably after she can just go back into sport again.
And what are the stars now in your stable?
I think we're standing next to him. We're going to the star next to you. So I can say we have here another horse that is at this moment, he already did Inter 2. So actually we can start, he can start to do Grand Prix now. He's quite a good age. He's 9 years old, a gelding from Bretton Woods. So actually I'm training him now to do Grand Prix. So soon he will make his debut. He knows all the elements already. Yeah, we did already Inter 2.
So this is the Tory, right?
So this is the Tory. A really wild stallion, as you can see.
He's a stallion.
He's a breeding stallion, and he's really sweet. I competed him now Prix St. George, and Hans-Peter Minderhout competed him Prix St. George. But I think we will hear a little bit more from him, because he really has a talent for Piaffe and Passage. Yeah, and I don't have him so long yet, so it will take a little bit more time before, yeah.
Why did he come to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why did he come to me? Well, actually, because it's not a Glock horse. And as you know, Hans-Peter Minderhout, he rides for Glock. So I can imagine that they, of course, like him to compete their horses. And he's not the tallest. So it was also not something that they want to buy it for Hans-Peter because, yeah, I think he would like to have a little bit bigger horses. So I think the owners, they also would like him to compete a little bit more, to be a little bit more in the picture. And like here, he's actually my, maybe not number one, but for sure number two, or let's say that he can get to number one. And I think if you're in the stable of Hans-Peter, it's a little bit harder to become number one because he has so many good horses. So yeah, I think here he has a little bit, it's quite a good chance to develop and to be shown more in the competitions.
Okay. So actually, at last but not least, I want to talk about the thing that for me, I find what I learned the most from you, what I think you overall represent as a rider is your training approach. That, you know, everybody knows that if they have a difficult horse, send it to Dominique. But it's true, okay? You can not accept it, but it's true. You can cope with any horse. You know, I know the stories when the horse wouldn't even come out of the box with another rider. And then you came and this horse was, you know, won, I think, no?
Yeah, he did
Dutch
quite well.
championship
Yeah,
or
he did
something
quite
like
well.
this. So yeah, what is your overall, like, main things that you adhere to in your training?
Well, I think what is quite funny in my way of thinking about the horses is that, first of all, this is like a thing that I know other people can think differently, but I think a horse from the nature doesn't really like dressage. This is just what I think, and it's not that I read it somewhere in a book, but I think a horse really likes to be in the fields, or likes to ride in the forest, let's say, or you know, likes to cuddle. So my thing about dressage is that if you want the horse to work for you, I don't think that it minds to work, but you should make the work fun, and you should make the horse like the thing what he has to do, so like the work or like to work with you. Mm-hmm. And this is of course something already, like many people, they have the feeling that the horse has to do what they want, and this is already a thing that I think it doesn't work. So I try to, you know, I do think like, hey, listen, we have to do a shoulder in because, yeah, we need to show this. But I just try to make it like in a way that the horse doesn't feel trapped or that he has to, and that there comes a certain type of pressure with this, but that you do it and that you feel a bit like, hey, you did well, you know, like in a positive way, positive vibe. And then I think they experience positive feelings about it. So, yeah, that's maybe a little bit different than other people.
So let's finish off with a quick blitz. I'll ask you a few questions and please respond quickly without thinking.
Okay.
So, most wonderful horse you've ever worked with?
I think the boss.
Okay. Yeah. Dressage, talent or money?
Oh, money, yeah. You know, it's really hard because I think talent, you should have talent for dressage, but if you have no money, you don't get anywhere. It's really bad.
Okay. Are you afraid to fall from a horse?
Yeah, a little bit more. A little bit more after I fell a few times. I fell not so long ago, quite hard, from that horse, one behind you. But you know what is the thing with falling, like when you get older, you take longer to get over it, and your body hurts, and it's just a shit feeling. But I understand that I get a little bit more scared now when I fall. And you know what's also really bad, that the whole company is like on its ass when you're not riding, you know, this is really bad.
If not dressage, then what?
Tennis. I really like tennis. I think if I would, because I was playing tennis and I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if it was true, but they said I could do it quite well. But then my mom said you cannot do both. It's just too hard to combine, and she was right. Like if we do something well. So last time I was driving beside the tennis court, and I saw it. I thought, oh, I liked it. I enjoyed it. So
Okay,
for sure, tennis.
nice. And last thing for our followers, Dominique will sign this True Horses cap, coffee cap, and we will send it to one of you guys.
Great. I would like to have it one myself, actually.
And we'll leave one for you.
Great, thanks. So let's go. Great.
Yay!
Let's see who the winner is.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So guys, this is our True Horses cup signed by Dominique Filion, as you can see here, and we are going to give it away to you. Please leave a comment to this video and we're going to randomly choose one of you and send this cup to wherever you are